9:30 and 2 to register. As you're all aware, the upcoming municipal election to elect a new mayor and city council is less than a month away on October the 22nd. As in every election, it is important for you to go out and vote. Those running for city council and for the mayor have been asking to speak to the Muslim community as they are aware of how important and influential our voice is. As a result, Hekma, who is our political advocacy group, has arranged for various all-candidates meetings. Tonight, from 5:30 until 7 p.m. at the London Muslim Mosque, the first all-candidates meeting will be held for wards 5, 6, 7, and 13. Immediately afterwards, from 7:30 until 9 p.m. tonight at the London Muslim Mosque, the all-candidates meeting for the mayor will take place. Next Friday, October the 5th, from 7:15 until 8:45, here at the Islamic Centre, the second all-candidates meeting will be held for wards 1, 12, and 14. And on the following Friday, October the 12th, the London Muslim Mosque will be holding the third all-candidates meeting for school trustees for wards 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That will be from 5 until 6:30. And then wards 7, 8, 9, 10, and 13 from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Please find out which ward that you belong to and that you attend, so that you can attend the all-candidates meeting that is applicable to you, so that you can make a proper, educated choice when you're casting your vote. We will inshallah be sending out a newsletter with this information following the khutbah. Lastly, our guest imam who will be delivering the Jumu'ah khutbah today is your Amu Munir. Thank you very much for your time. Assalamu alaikum. Can you please, everyone move up and fill in the spots to your left and my right. We're going to have, inshallah, lots of people. So if you can please move up and move to your right and fill up all the gaps so that we don't interrupt the khutbah. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده تعالى ونشكره ونستعين به ونسترشده ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وقائدنا ومرشدنا وحجتنا وشفيعنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة. عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله وطاعته، وأحثكم على التمسك بهدي قرآنه وسنة نبيه، فقد قال الله جل من قائل: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام، إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. صدق الله العظيم. بداية إخوتي أخواتي، سأركز في هذه الخطبة على اللغة الإنجليزية، لأن الموضوع يهم أبناءنا بالدرجة الأولى، فاعذروني، ولكنني بإذن الله سأعطي ملخصا في الخطبة الثانية إن شاء الله. What I said in Arabic is that I'm going to just give the khutbah in English because the topic concerns young members of our family, and today it's PD Day. And I chose the topic so that they could relate to it. They could know what is happening and make educated decisions, inshallah, in regard to the topic at hand. If you have been following the news, you would know that in less than 3 weeks, marijuana, cannabis, pot, weed will be legal in Canada. And I know that in a classroom, if you hear the teacher mention these words, you will start to smile and laugh. But not at the masjid, because this is very serious. I want you to look at me, but I want you to pay attention, not to smile and giggle, because this is not meant to be a teacher-student, but it is meant to be a father-son-daughter kind of discussion, because whatever decision you will make with the help of your parents will determine what kind of future we will have. Now, my khutbah, inshallah, quickly will be made of 3 parts. One, which is very short. It's about definitions. And the other one is technical and legal. And the third will be the Islamic perspective on this issue. The first part, definition, you heard me in the beginning say that this is about legalization of marijuana, cannabis, weed, pot. We all heard those 4 words. Are they the same? Are they different? Especially for the older generation, I would like to mention, so that we know what we're talking about, that cannabis is the name of the plant. And there are 3 varieties. This is the plant, it's called cannabis. Marijuana is the dried leaf, stem, and seed or flower that cannabis produces. When it is dried, ready for consumption, it's called marijuana. Pot is a street gang type of word, because when something is illegal, people who use it would like to use a word that is not familiar to the mainstream, so that they will not just uncover their practices. And until now, it has been illegal. So they use pot. And pot is derived from a Mexican word that means marijuana. So they say pot. And the most street type word is weed. So this is all the same. Now, in less than 3 weeks, and specifically on October 17, the government of Canada will make the recreational use of any of those 4 legal. And by that, Canada will be the second country in the world after Uruguay that will make recreational use of marijuana legal. But they have rules. They say in the act that will become law after it had passed the Senate, and it's called C-45. If you want to go and check what does it make legal, it makes legal the possession, the buying, the cultivation, and the making of different products. So any of those 4 is going to become legal. 30 grams of pot will become legal to be possessed, to be consumed by an adult. And now the definition of adult is over 19 years of age, except in Alberta where it will be 18 years. Where we know that medical doctors have been saying all along that you need to be over 24 in order to withstand the bad effects of pot or weed or cannabis. But now, before the legalization, Health Canada, and I went to their site, they changed their language from don't use it to use it but be aware of its side effects. Look at the change. It used to be don't use it, period. Now it is use it but be aware of its side effects. Now before C-45 will be made into law, they were careful. The government was careful to pass another law to appease, to make the people comfortable that we will look after safety. In what way? They said that we will monitor drivers so that they will not be driving while under the effect of the drug, cannabis or marijuana. But the fact is, whereas there are effective breathalyzers to detect alcohol, there are no devices that are able to detect cannabis or marijuana. They just don't have it. And the product that marijuana produces in the blood after what we call metabolism. Metabolism is the process of breaking down the chemical into its products. That there are 114 chemicals that marijuana produces in our blood. Most serious among them is a metabolite or a chemical called THC, which was declared to be related to how old you are, your genetic makeup, your gender, how big you are, so it may stay in your urine days or weeks or months, and it will continue to exert its terrible side effects. but it will become legal. This will be something that you will see around. But let me mention this. Alcohol consumption in Canada is legal. But for us as Muslims, it continues to be haram. And I stress the word haram, it's unlawful. I know. See, I follow activities at schools, I speak to counselors, I speak to social workers, and I know that there are some among our youth who are consuming alcohol. Some of the parents know that, some don't. And that's why we need to talk about that which is equally dangerous and equally haram. Equally haram. Now, and I heard that from a site related to someone who's a graduate of an Islamic university, saying that mukhaddirat or drugs are not haram because they were not mentioned in the Quran. Subhanallah, look at how we try to play on the nusus, on the statements of the Quran and that of the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is why I would like to use the rest of the khutbah to talk about the Islamic perspective, but I wanted to make a jump from that which is technical to the Islamic perspective by saying that if they want to make it legal, the same as our other laws were passed in the House of Commons and the Senate, but they continue to be haram to us. They passed a law that made marriage of same-gender people legal in Canada. But we are not going to say that it is acceptable. We continue to say that it is haram. Because our deen governs our ethics. We are who we are because we follow the Quran and the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, period. We do not dilute this conviction. We have what is called aqeedah. Our aqeedah is fixed. But this aqeedah is such that we can live with it at all times, all places, under all circumstances. And now we are facing the danger that some of our kids may be tempted, that their friends may tell them, well, it's legal, would you like to try it? The same as some of our kids started taking the habit of smoking because their friends told them, well, try it, you know, it's not going to hurt. Do this, do that, and they started to develop that. And I wonder, you know, there are zones, areas beside every high school where kids can go and smoke. We encourage something harmful and then we engage in finding solutions to control it. Alcohol is legal and we need to deal with the consequences of alcoholism. Drugs continue to be illegal, but they chose this particular drug to make it legal. Make it legal for recreational use. I will come, inshallah, to using its liquid for medicinal purpose. I know that I was asked this question, and I will deal with it, inshallah. But I would like to start by saying that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in a hadith reported by Abu Dawood in his Sunan, said, كل مخمر خمر وكل مسكر حرام. Mukhammir, which means that everything that causes a kind of change in our mental state and our ability to reason, whether it is a depressant, whether it is a relaxant, whether it is something that make us in the street language use as we become high, or we become ecstatic, and that's why they use ecstasy, they use, different kinds of words, street words, because drugs are drugs. Rasulullah said that everything that alters our mental state falls under the title of khamr. And khamr in the Quran is haram. Therefore, muhaddirat, drugs are haram. وَكُلُّ مُسْكِرٍ, in the same hadith, anything that makes you feel, on the happy, as they say, call it side, is haram. Period. It's very clear. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as we read in Surah Al-A'raf, يُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. This is what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam does. He came to proclaim wholesome things as halal and make things that are harmful to us as haram. That's why the argument of certain ulama, and I agree with them, that smoking is haram. We cannot just say, well, you can't call it haram, it's makruh, because smoking has been established to harm people, to damage, their health, their wealth, their families, and some people prefer to buy a packet of cigarettes than to buy groceries for their families. Now back to marijuana and cannabis. It is haram. And in Surah Al-Ma'idah, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة. Look at the ending. فهل أنتم منتهون? Ya Allah, this is much stronger than to say intahu. It is Allah who is asking the question, saying, after telling you all of that, are you going to stop? Are you going to abstain? This is bad for you. Who is telling us that? It is Allah, the one who created us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that this is bad for you. 2 weeks ago I was talking about dhikrullah. And what dhikrullah means, it means mindfulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the 2 ayat from Surah Al-Ma'idah could be translated closely as follows. O people of faith, O people who come to the masajid because you have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not because your parents forced you to come. You came to the masjid because you couldn't wait for the PD day to come and listen and pray with the community. You are people of faith, young people. You are our future. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to you. He's telling us, listen, people of faith, alcohol and all kinds of drugs. I'm not going to use the word intoxicants because, they will not understand what intoxicants are. Older people may understand it, but for the young people, they know what drugs are. Alcohol and drugs and playing lottery and gambling and something I'm not going to translate called ansab, you don't worry about it, okay, are bad. They are the work of the devil. They are the work of Satan. So avoid them. Don't come close to them, so that you will be successful in your life. And you should know that the devil wants to break among you hatred and animosity and to stop you from being mindful of Allah. You will forget all about Allah. Because when you are doing something you know is bad, you don't think about Allah. So drugs will make you stop thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I know you don't want to stop that. You want to always be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why you came to the masjid today. And the devil wants you to stop praying. So if drugs will make you unaware of what you are saying, or you will stop praying altogether, aren't you going to stop those things and get away from them? This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in the Quran. Now, brothers and sisters, time is very limited, but I want to say that inshallah our youth, our kids will be smarter than just to try once, as they tell you the first time. They say, you don't have to do it again. Just try it once to have a feel what it's like. And then they know that once you develop something you never felt before, and shaitan will tell you, isn't that, groovy? Isn't that, pleasurable? Aren't you feeling good? Once you feel that, you say, I don't know if I felt it right. Let me try it again, just to know whether it was just my mind or, no, I didn't feel that way. So you try it again. And say, yeah, it's good. I will use it only when I am not busy with other things. But I will stop when I don't have to use it. And in no time you will discover that your body will tell you, no, you can't stop anymore. The same as smoking. You may know somebody who is older and is smoking and cannot quit, or could quit but doesn't want to. You may know people who are smoking, and you should talk to them to stop. We should have a campaign to stop smoking. But the drugs, don't even come close to them, because they are bad for you. Now, for the people especially who are sitting by the chairs or on the chairs, I know you may have pain. And I know that you were told that marijuana liquid may help you to suppress that pain, to stop that pain. Is it lawful to use it for pain? Before I answer this, let me tell you that when you are prescribed what is called Tylenol 3, which is Tylenol with codeine, you should know that codeine is derived from cocaine and morphine and oxycodone and Percocet and Percodan. All of these medications contain drugs, and you can't take them because the drug is controlled. And you should know, I know certain people who go to their physician or their dentist and they tell the doctor and the dentist what they want to be prescribed. When I was still in practice, I had patients come to me and say, can you please prescribe Percocet for me? I tell them, am I the doctor or are you the doctor? But they ask for it by name because they know that they are going to take more than they need so that they will feel what Percocet makes them to feel, or oxycodone or whatever. At that time, that medication becomes haram. But if you take it as you're supposed to be taking it, as your doctor prescribes it, then it is halal. And this has been made halal by fuqaha, by scholars, who said that التداوي بالمخدرات halal, التداوي, but not more than what is necessary for medicinal purpose. Therefore, if the only drug that is going to control your pain is marijuana liquid under controlled measures, and if your doctor says this is the only one, there's no alternative, look at this, there's no alternative, then you may take it under the direction of your physician. But if you take it as you wish, then it goes to the realm of haram. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فيا فوز المستغفرين. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will accept our dua. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. الحمد لله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. So we talked in the first khutbah under 3 titles, definitions. Now we are experts. When we hear any of those 4 words, we know what they mean. Then we talked about the legal and about the technical. And by the way, just under the technical, I don't know if it is a source of comfort, but in Ontario, the outlets to sell marijuana will be controlled by the government, the same as alcohol. Here, you cannot buy alcohol from a grocery store. It will be controlled by the government from 40 outlets throughout the province. But still, that doesn't make it any better than alcohol is. And the thing they say that if they find, look at this, and this is, especially for those who have PR still, they're not citizens, okay? If you are a permanent resident and you are caught consuming it more than the limit allowed to you, then you will be deported and you will never be allowed into Canada again. Also, there are problems because the United States does not make or is not accepting marijuana to be used legally. And that was mentioned by the government. Maybe it's the only good thing that the American government is saying, that they will turn back anyone who admits to have consumed marijuana in the past. And there will be long lineups at the borders because they are going to question everybody after October 17th. And they are going to fine $5,000 anyone who is found, an adult who is not licensed to selling another adult or giving even a dust of it to a minor less than 18 years or 19 years of age. That person may be fined $5,000 and or may be jailed for 14 years. Restrictions, but in the end, now the same as alcohol, which is haram, unlawful, there will be a drug who is used, and the thing is, it's the 2nd country in the world. But we have to deal with it as smart, intelligent people. And finally, the 3rd thing that I talked about was the Islamic perspective. The Islamic perspective is very clear that using it is haram, but using it for medicinal purposes is allowed with restrictions. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وخطايانا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم علمنا من ديننا ما جهلنا وذكرنا منه ما نسينا وكن معنا ولا تكن علينا. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.